Hello and welcome to A Game of Ice and Fire. When last we left off, young Martan Skrel had been assigned by his father, Lord Baylor, to secure a trade deal for lumber from the neighboring island of Arlen. This island is ruled by Lord Camren of House Tyde, an old ally from the War of the Usurper. But shortly after reaching the island, it was clear that Lord Camren harbored a hatred against House Skrel for the deaths of his wife and 3 sons. With the help of Radova's sharp eyes and Thali's friendly manner, Martan was able to see that Lazoros Dranatus, an advisor to Lord Camren, was the driving force behind both the mismanagement of Arlen and the blame for his family's deaths being leveled at House Skrel. Once this was made clear to Lord Camren, Lazoros was immediately thrown out of the court in disgrace, though where the threads of his influence lead, no one yet knows. After feasting his guests and hearing their tales, Lord Camren decided it was time for a hunt and invited his guests along. A day traveling to the Otter Wood allowed Lord Camren to tell stories of his island and its history, and on the second day they hunted some deer. On the third day, Thali spotted boar tracks and the party resumed their hunt, finding the great beast in a nest of small hills. Martan struck the final blow, and during their celebration, a small swallow, the sigil of House Skrel, flitted down in front of Martan, flapping its wings and screeching wildly before flying off out of sight. This set them all on alert, and it was then that Radova took out his far eyes and saw the castellan for Tyde Hall approaching on horseback, with Tyde guards to either side of him. Lord Camren, visibly worried, asked Ser Byren Rocke if there was ill news from the hall, and he replied, "Sadly, yes, my lord. It seems that you and your visitors have been slain by... what is that lying there, a boar? It was a terribly bloody affair, and it took us several days to find your bodies, so I'm afraid there will be very little to send back to Lord Skrel. Brandeth, Sabas, there is no need for this cruel beast to have taken your lives as well. Set aside your weapons, and no one shall know you are here. Help me with my butcher's work, and Lazoros will see you handsomely rewarded. What do you say?" At this, Martan told Thali to fire, and Thali was able to wound Ser Byren Rocke, who then gave a signal to his men to attack. Alright, and now I will bring the players in. So, Thali has just fired his shot, and you have seen it take its impact. You have each, essentially, one action before I'm going to have us roll initiative. Thali has pretty well taken his. So,
fine.
Martan and Iron Hand, what would you like to do? With that shot, I believe, Thali, at the end, you also said something to Brandeth about forgiving him his debt that he owes you for the bets if he fights alongside you?
I did indeed. Thali said something to the tune of forget the bet and fight with us. If you don't fight with us, you lose your life.
All right.
That's kind of what he said.
Excellent.
A little bit of threat. Kind of a threat.
Okay, go ahead and make a persuasion test for me.
Bruh, what, are you kidding me right now?
No, I'm not. Persuasion test, let's go.
Fine. All right, cool. Boy, howdy.
All 2 of them.
Bro, how's a 12 sound?
Hey!
Let's go!
Okay, this also introduces another new idea that I was... I don't know really how I was going to introduce this, but let's go ahead and do it. So, there are in the game things for critical successes and critical failures in combat. But they don't exist for anything else. And I thought that sucked, So I started writing some of my own. And you just did one, so let me see what I have for that. Let's see. So that is a 2 because we're count. So anytime, the way that I have this work is whenever a character makes a test outside of combat or an intrigue, count the number of 6s rolled and compare to the table below. So similar to how it works in combat, but just a shade different. So you have 2 6s on this. If the test beats the DC, which it did, you gain an ability experience point. So this can be used to gain ranks in the ability used for the test. So under persuasion, somewhere on your character sheet, in that persuasion area where you have your specialties listed, go ahead and add an experience point. So once you get enough, or if you want to get a rank in persuasion, you have an experience point here for that. So
you're essentially saying it would cost less if I wanted to upgrade persuasion because I critted on persuasion.
yes.
Understandable.
So and there are, I've got this built all the way up to 8, which is theoretically impossible unless you do some like extraordinary shit. So
You say that.
yeah. If you get there, then awesome. But there are essentially different tiers that will give you different bonuses, and they range from specialty experience, which is specific to gaining specialty ranks in something. The ability experience, which is what you just got. A general experience point, some single-use bonus dice, and some single-use destiny points, which would be neat. Cool. And all the way up to giving you just an extra glory point.
Cool.
So, yeah. There you go. And nice. I also added them for intrigues when that becomes relevant. Right. I dare say it will not today, but those other ones, it just was. So yeah, you gained an experience point that you can use in persuasion.
Okay.
Excellent. And you succeeded, and you look over and you see Brandith give you a nod, and he pulls his shield from his back and unsheathes his long sword.
Let's go, Brandith. Thala grins at him and just turns back to essentially fire another arrow.
All right, cool. All right, so Martan or Radova, who wants to go next?
I will go next, I think. And really all Radova is going to do is get between as many people and Martan as he possibly can do. It's not a great way to pull that off, though. Kind of already there by the look of it.
And yeah, I guess I can let them see the battle map.
I know.
Jump over to it, yeah. And I can zoom in on the characters real quick just so we can see who we got here.
Sorry.
God, what a throwback. Those commercials can't have been that old. Those are like 2010s.
What are they, Is it like Kia Sportage or something? Kia?
I don't know.
Mazda?
Do not remember now. It's been
something. It's probably 15 or 20. 15 years.
Alright, so I've got a movement of 3. Can I close the gap between myself and one of these two gentlemen to the south of me.
I believe you
and
can
still
get.
smack 'em.
I think you can get to. You can get to one of them. Yeah, you can get to the one that's kind of closest to Ser Byren on that side.
That's what we're gonna do then. Radova is just going to launch himself bodily right at this man's face.
Okay. Oh. I think we did that at the same time. All right. Cool.
We should do.
Let me zoom out for the people. For the people. Okay, so you are engaging that guy right there.
That's the plan.
So there's your movement. You still have an action. What would you like
sure
to do?
do. I'm gonna hit him.
All right.
Radova, with his castle forged stiletto still dripping with boar's blood. Does the kind thing and kind of flicks some of the blood off before, as he launches himself forward, thrusting it at this dude.
All right, go ahead and make your attack.
Okay, so that is, by my reckoning, 7 test dice to hit this man.
7 test dice? How?
That's a great question. Part of it is that
I
it's
don't think it should be that
castle-forged.
high.
I didn't either. But
Okay, Okay, so that adds a +2 to hit, not +2 test dice.
Okay, that's very different.
Yeah, very different. Yeah, good God.
Look, I was just like,
I
I
mean,
too. I
yeah,
was like,
yeah. I guess if you don't know,
That's what
yeah.
it says, and you have my sheet.
That's what the
so
man said. He said that. That's what the
You
man
didn't
said.
change it.
That's what he said.
I actually I have like 6 test dice written on one document and 7 on another.
I think what is your rank in fighting? I don't think you have
so
anything extra than your ranks in fighting for test dice.
So my rank in fighting is 4, but I have a bonus dice for short blades.
Okay, so you'd be rolling 5 and taking the top 4.
Great. I've just been doing this wrong the whole time.
Oh, good. That's good to know.
Or something. I don't know. There's a reason, and I don't know what it is off the top of my head.
Was it related to the extra bonus that you got to attack that we earned?
No, but I still do have that +1 bonus on my next to hit roll, and this is no.
Well, it's
think
to use.
yeah.
That's to use at your prerogative. That is a
Yeah,
bonus
so
dice
I'm-
on a combat roll.
So I'm still
I think the
sitting
way
on
that I
that.
specified. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still sitting on that for later, but yeah. So okay, that's a +2 to hit. It's a very different situation. Actually, I'll do it on me, so I'll use this group since this is what I grabbed first. So, ooh, that's not terrible. That is 18 to hit with 1/6.
18. Oh, with 1/6. Okay. What is your base damage?
The damage with the Castleforge Stiletto is 5 plus the 1 for my gauntlet in my offhand.
Okay.
And a piercing of 3.
And a piercing of 3. All right, you critical hit. Well, I guess not just barely. You beat it by a couple of points. So that is 1/6, which grants you +2 to your base damage, which is taking your 6 to an 8. With a 3 piercing, 8 is multiplied by the degrees of success, which was 3. You got 3 degrees.
And the 2 to my hit from being Castleforge does bump it to 20 to hit, if that affects the
That's
degrees
20.
of success.
It does not, but that is good to know. Cool. So that's 3 times the 8, 24, with 3 piercing. So he is going to take a wound to accept all of that at the cost of a test dice on every test.
Good.
Yeah.
So
take
yeah,
that.
you come in and you kind of grab him with your left hand gauntlet and wrenching his shield aside with your stiletto, come in under kind of the left arm up into his rib cage, and you feel the stiletto pierce through and break some of those links of mail underneath that blue and red cloth, and you feel flesh underneath squirm and blood start to pour from the wound.
Hey bro, that's
all
gross.
As all of this happens, Rodiva's got him kind of by the front of his collars there, and as he's twisting the knife that little bit there, he just grins this very sadistic sort of grin. You picked the wrong side, and shoves him back.
Oh boy.
All right, that's move
Gotta
and
get some good one-liners in.
and an attack. That is your turn, Martin. What would you like to do?
All right. Drew, is this fellow to the northeast of me? Oh, I guess there's no compass, so I don't know what is north or what. Is that a bad guy?
Are you okay? So only the people like
Map,
in
there's a gentleman with a appears to be a shield and perhaps a dagger.
Are you talking like 1 or 2 squares away from Martin?
No,
Or
right
you're
above Ser Darren.
Directly above Ser Darren?
Those are
Directly
Brandith and
above Ser
Sabas, I
Darren.
think.
Yeah, that is Brandith and Sabas. I think at this point well, let's see.
You can just
How
leave
do
them
I
like that
do
and let them get mixed up in the fray.
That looks like a bad guy right next to me. How did that happen?
Yeah, I used obviously I use the same character models for those. I have their names on my end. I should be able to show them to you so that you can see them and not think that that's an enemy.
No, he's the real Brandith. Shoot him! Shoot him!
Joke's on you, the real Brandith would never miss out on a chance to miss work.
I don't think that's what I want. I want the token. Sorry. Players.
We need sponsors.
okay.
We could just do ad
All
reads
right.
while
Did that change it for you?
we're sorting things out. Yeah.
Cool. I didn't think it would take long. I just needed to remember where the setting was. All right. Now you should be able to see both of their names, and I'll go ahead and do that for Lord Camren as well. Not that I think you'll mistake who he is.
Bro, there's
Okay.
a chance.
I think everybody's name should be displayed now, but if it's not,
Except for Byron's, if that matters.
I can display his, I suppose. I don't think that'll show you anything besides his name. Okay, good.
Then you could say nameless henchman 1 through.
1 through
Yes,
27.
yes, I can. Okay, Martin.
I'm gonna ask them deeply personal questions about themselves, like, "Hey, buddy, what's your name? What's your wife's name?
What is your wife's name?
Hey, bud, what's your wife's name?" Make Drew come up with all this.
Yes.
When were you born, man?
Yeah. Under what sign?
Yeah, what's your sign? What's your sign, man?
Perfect.
All right,
Right.
Martin, what you doing?
All right. Well, I do take this moment and I shout over at Ser Byren. And in an attempt to incite his rage, I say something.
Don't piss him off.
Make sure I got my names right. Yeah. You are no Ser Byren Rocke, but nothing but the bugger boy for Lazoros Jonatus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you don't slay me yourself, no one will see you as anything other.
Damn.
And then I ready my bow.
Okay, go ahead and make a I think this is a persuade taunt or persuade. Well, I think this has got to be a taunt. You're trying to incite. Okay, go ahead and make your roll.
Good. Fucking word.
Call this man a bugger boy.
A bugger boy for Lazoros Janatus.
I feel like that should be on a t-shirt.
I think so too.
All right.
I'm just
That
a
is
bugger
a
boy.
16.
A 16.
Yes.
Jesus.
Okay.
With 1/6. if that
With
matters.
1/6. Okay. Go ahead. Martin, add 1 specialty experience in persuasion, because that is a success. You did incite him to attack you, I'm assuming is the goal here. That is what it
God.
sounded like. That's right. All right. Well. All right. You succeeded in doing that. So cool. That is your turn. Okay. As all of this happens, when Brandith pulls out his sword and readies his shield, he looks over at Sabas and says, "We're not with those bastards, right?" And Sabas looks at him and looks over at Ser Byren, spits on the ground, and pulls out his sword and shield.
Let's go!
All right, let's go ahead and get everybody to roll initiative.
We made friends.
And you can do
Somehow,
this.
yeah.
You should be able to do all of this in Roll20 and have it
Okay.
take effect. Just make sure that your token is selected when you're doing that.
How about a brief reminder on how to do that?
It should be under your. Let's see. Let me pull it up for these guys. Under your character sheet, under intrigue and combat, and there's a combat initiative. But if you're rolling it physically, it is your agility with bonuses in quickness. So let's see. I already did them. Let's do the soldier.
Damn.
Okay, I wanna do it the right way. So let me.
Yeah, me too. Wait, why
Wait.
am I X'd out?
Why are you X'd
Okay.
out? I just saw that. Did you do that?
I don't
Initiative.
think I did.
Let me undo that.
Hmm.
There.
Did
Now
I-
it's fixed.
Did I do good?
Let's see.
Wait, I think I rolled an intrigue. Dadgummit.
You sure did.
Sorry.
GG.
I think if you just re-roll it, it should work.
Who are you talking to?
You.
No,
Or if,
it's
not
all-
re-roll it, but if you just roll the correct
Yeah,
thing,
yeah.
it should just work.
Just
It
do
should
it
work.
right.
If you just do it fucking
You're
right,
If I
Josh.
just did it right.
This is like the
how's
first
that?
time we really used this for this, and
true.
I realize I don't know how to.
Hey, Drew, mine is
That's it.
worse, dog.
Hey,
Is it?
that's
Yeah,
unfortunate.
it is.
I'm sorry.
Mine's incredible, so I'm gonna stay where I am.
Yeah. Well, yours is usually pretty good. You've got a lot of agility.
That's true.
Did that work? Yes, it did. Okay,
Why is it that every time I sit at this
and...
desk, I do something real?
Oh shit, I forgot about Nicholas.
My voice is
Sorry,
like,
what did you just say, bro?
Who?
The column, the archetype. What did you just say?
So why is it that every time I sit at my desk to do something weird, my throat is like,
Oh.
time to close?
Yeah, dude.
Oh, you wanted to speak today? Nah.
You gotta lay off dairy.
No.
What dairy? I've been drinking water all day.
Been drinking green tea all day.
Oh,
Really?
I also forgot about you.
I tried to get into green tea. I'm not a fan.
I just can't,
What new
man.
thing?
It's the same with booch. I can't get into the booch. Also can't not say booch.
You can. You're just
Why
not.
do you
I
say it in the
choose-
first place?
I choose not to. The booch.
All right, let's see. Who are we still waiting on? I need one for Iron Hand and one for Martan.
I see. I rolled, but I did not select the right token.
Yeah, everyone.
Why do you keep Xing yourself out, James?
Because it's fun.
I didn't fucking do anything. All I did was click on my character.
You know what
open
won't
up
X
the
me
dice
out?
thing, and
Physical
like, nope,
dice.
you're dead.
It does not like you at all.
It sure
so much
does.
for that 24.
And why was everyone else able to just test their initiative for combat, and I don't have that option?
Bruh.
Yeah, 26.
Do you not actually have that option? You should be able to open your. You can open your sheet in here, right?
Yes.
All right, and under character sheet, under intrigue and combat, there's not a.
Do it.
Oh,
Yeah,
there it
I
is.
did it. I did it. It's done. Fuck.
Okay.
Please stand by. We are experiencing technical.
That's everybody, right?
I think at this
Just
point it's
simple
just
as that. Press the
difficult.
button, James. Don't be a dum-dum.
It's just difficult. There's nothing technical about it. It's
No,
just
yeah, it's
difficult.
We're having a hard time.
We're just having difficulties.
Just having some
Actually rolling
difficulties.
my dice through. God.
Mm-hmm.
Don't take that from me anymore.
Yeah, life
Okay.
is like, I don't know. I do like.
It took us 20 minutes to roll it.
It's fine. It's fine. This went by much faster.
Yes, this part now will go by much faster. Okay. Everybody.
To be fair, it took us 20 minutes to do our surprise round and then roll initiative.
Yeah, even though one of you had technically already done it. I wanted the rest of that to actually matter
In
as
other
well.
words, it's not my fault.
No, that part's not. Actually, really none of that is. All of this is my fault.
Andrew, you just met a follower goal.
Congrats, buddy.
Oh, I didn't realize that's that one. That's nice.
Watching me
Do you
watch
have an
up while
incentive for that,
watching.
Drew? Do you have to dress up now?
No.
Oh, boo. You're not
If
gonna
you,
get like a
if you want me to,
kiddie pool
if you want me to start doing those, then just tell me of what you'd like to see.
I just want to see you in a kiddie pool.
Get in the comments.
That's awesome.
Yeah. All right.
In the comments.
Get in the comments and tell me. Yes. This is a unique platform where stuff like that is technically possible, and I can still do what I would normally do. So let's go. Okay. That being said, everybody's initiative should be updated, and I think you can see everyone's. So, Yep. Okay. Cool. Well, it is Iron Hand's turn. What would you like to do?
You know, I did just wound this man grievously. So I could finish him off, right? Like I could, But fuck that. Radova's gonna drop the asshole in his hand and launch himself at Ser Byren.
Okay. You've got the movement to get there.
And same thing. We're gonna swing with the Castle Forge stiletto and ye old gauntlet.
Okay. Go ahead and make your attack roll.
The old Iron Hand, as they say.
Ye old.
Someone says that. I don't know who. I'm sure someone says that. Someone probably says that.
Somewhere, somewhere.
Ooh. That's almost good.
Almost.
Only almost. So 15 plus 2 is 17 with 2 6s.
17 with 2 6s. All right. It is not a crit.
Bummer.
It does hit. What was your base damage? It was 6 with 3 piercing, right?
Base damage is 5 with 3 piercing.
Thought you have a 6. Oh, right. That was from your offhand. Are you still? Did you still want to use your offhand?
Yes, I do. With the plus
Okay.
1 from the offhand. 5 plus 1. 5 plus 1
So,
is 6.
yeah. All right. So 6. Let's see. You said you rolled a 17.
Yes.
Okay. That's 2 degrees of success. So that's taking your 6 to a 12 with 3 piercing. Let's see. This would be he is going to have to take another wound.
Yeah, he is.
Something related to his critical wound, though. I thought, or sorry, his crippling wound. Something about that has to do with him taking another wound, if I'm not.
So yes, when you fired that first arrow, that was I think you're right. The crippling wound is what that one was called. So what that did was that forced him to take an injury, I think.
A wound and an injury.
He took a wound and an injury, but I think the injury was from the critical hit. I think you needed 4 6s to hit to get an extra wound. 3 is an injury. Regardless, he took one of each, and so the red dot that you see over his character, that's the wound. The second one, the blue dot that you see is his second wound. That's how I'm marking it. But he also has an injury. All of those are giving him penalties. So, oops, that's the wrong person. And let me update his character sheet with that. Cool. So it might actually just factor all that in. Okay. Yeah, you run up to Ser Byren and grab at his kind of at his leg and pull him and stab up towards him, and you're able to get by as he's fighting with the reins of the horse that's startled from your sudden run up towards it. And while he's fighting, you're able to slip your stiletto in, and you feel a similar effect to what you felt before in his right side. You feel your Castle Forge stiletto puncture and rupture some of those steel links that hold that chainmail in place, and you feel that you have struck flesh again. Alright, that's your move and your attack. Let's move on to Ser Byren. Ser Byren is...
Forlorn, just say it.
That is the basis of his name. I think he is going to take a note from Iron Hand and just run up at this guy. Well, nope, he won't be able to make it.
Dang it, Ser Byren.
Yep. Ser Byren is going to... Does he have any ranged weapons?
Thank you.
Let me see. He's at the very bottom. Oh, duh, he does. He's got the hunting bow from the hunting. He is going to
The most dangerous game.
take a shot at the guy that Iron Hand has already wounded. See if he can stop that from happening. Go over to the chat. And oh boy, that's 9. That technically hits. What is his damage?
Good enough.
I mean, it does hit. Will it do damage? No, it will not. So
Let's see it purple.
Ser Byren fires a shot off at the man that has been stabbed and is bleeding from Iron Hand's wound, and the soldier pulls up his shield and is able to catch the arrow on his shield. That...
Bummer.
Yeah, bit of a bummer. That is going to be Ser Byren's turn. He likes where he is. So, let's see. That means we are on Ser Byren's turn. Iron Hand is right in front of him.
Good old angry stabbed Ser Byren.
Old angry stabbed Ser Byren. I think he is
Arrow
gonna...
sticking out of his chest.
I think he's gonna take a swipe at you, Iron Hand.
Nice.
So you see Ser Byren is wearing similar garb to the guards that are with him. The chainmail, the ring mail that he's got, is a little bit finer than what you see on the guards, but it is still ring mail. And the tabard that he's wearing over that is the same as the guardsman's, the blue and red of House Tyde. You see it now stained from 2 wounds. There's an arrow lodged in his torso, and then your stab wound to his right side. But you see this man is a pretty hefty soldier's build, and he has a shield, and you see a battle axe in his right hand. Just a big, mean hunk of metal, and he is going to take a swing at you with that. So, let's see. You've got to be kidding me.
Ooh, that's rough, buddy.
Do you see this? He rolled 6d6, dropped the lowest 4, and he rolled 3 1s and a 2. So that's a 7 that I think does not hit. Does not even hit you.
It says 11.
Okay, then attack misses. He is real pissed off, and
how's it feel knowing you're gonna die out here swinging an axe like an asshole?
He is going to charge the group, and he's already taken his attack, so he can't actually use the charge action. But he is going to get right up in everyone's business.
Hey, girl.
And that is going to be Ser Byron's turn. Martin, that brings us to you.
Alright.
Okay.
I'm going to do what is considered dishonorable, and I'm going to take a shot at Ser Byron's steed.
Yep, there it is.
Okay, go ahead and make your attack.
Same again. Same aim. Jesus, I can't talk. Where are my consonants? Never mind. I'm just gonna. This ain't a game of honor no more.
No, this is just
This
an
man
unfortunate
ro-
hunting accident.
This man rolled out here trying to kill us.
That was a 5.
A 5. That is not gonna hit. As the horse is charging up, and in the heat of the moment, everything is happening very quickly, and you pull back your arrow, and you think, of course, if I take out the horse, he'll fall, and we can just swamp him as he's down, and it won't be a problem. And as you try to line up your shot, just some of the training, the very little bit of training that you've done in your days, just slides out the window, and your shot goes wide. Would you like to move or do anything else on a lesser action? I don't think there are many other lesser actions.
I believe move. Definitely
All right,
move.
where are you going?
We're gonna move. Back.
Anywhere but here.
Yeah, anywhere but here.
Gotta get back.
Let me see what my movement is real quick.
I believe your movement is 3 with a sprint of 10.
I can't sprint now, so.
Nope.
We'll move. I can't move through friendlies, correct?
Yes.
Alright, and diagonals count as
One
a
space.
singular move, correct?
Mhm.
Okay. And I will move
Did you just tilt your character?
Hell. Let me move.
I'll move this way.
Throw him off
There
this
we go.
end.
That'll do it, yeah.
Never let them know your next
I'll move
move.
through to there.
All right.
Let's put that away, boy.
There you go. There is your action and your movement, right?
Fly away.
Improvise, adapt,
That'll do
overcome.
that.
Okay. It is the Tide Archer's turn.
Tell him to quit it.
So,
That's right.
yeah, if you haven't noticed yet, you notice on either side of you in the woods approaching at the tops of these little raised hills to either side of you, 6 archers, 3 to each side. And it is now their turn. They're going to take their shots. So let's see. I'm going to start with... Let's see. How do I... Can I long hold? Yeah. I'm going to start with this guy. He is going to take his shot at Thali.
Who's that?
This guy right here.
No, I was.
Oh, who's Thali? Yeah. All right, I'm there. So he is going to, let's see how to do this. Do it this way.
I don't think so. Probably not.
Let's find out. Did that do what I wanted it to? Holy shit.
Attacks with the hunting bow 17 with 1/6.
Let's see.
I don't see the 1/6.
I don't think that is right.
6 plus 5 plus
Let me double check.
5 plus 1.
So 4d6, drop the lowest one. Oh, no, that is correct. Yeah. Jesus, that he rolled really high. 6, 5, 5, and then a 5 that he dropped. Okay, so that's a 17 to hit you.
Yeah, my combat defense is 7 plus 1.
Where's the +1 coming from?
I don't know. You told me to put 7 plus 1.
Oh, is that on your... Let me see.
I'm just doing what you told me to.
I believe you. I'm just trying to figure out where that's coming from. So it is your agility, athletics, and awareness, which should give you 9. And then your armor penalty is a -2, which takes you to a 7. And then... Oh, it is if you use your dagger, the defensive property of your dagger.
Okay.
So if you do that, it's an 8. If you don't, it's a 7. That's what that means.
It's not going to change anything regardless, is it?
In this instance, it would affect the number of degrees of success.
Okay. Well, then I guess I'm going to do that.
All right. Let's see. And then their damage is pretty low. It's just 2. Yeah. All right. So that with your dagger is going to take it from a 3 to a 2. Times 2 is 4. Minus your armor of 3 means 1 damage comes to you.
So my options for taking damage are just remove it from health
Or take an injury, which will take your endurance rank's worth of damage. So you have a 3 in endurance. That would take 3 damage per injury that you took. And then a wound will accept all incoming damage. The injury gives you a -1 on all tests. A wound gives you a -1 test dice on all tests.
I think I'll just take the damage.
Yeah. 1 damage coming at you, that is
Yep.
definitely something that I would do. Just take it as health damage. I think if you click your token, can you adjust his health there?
Mm-hmm.
Not that one.
Oh.
Health is red.
That's the only one that I did. Yeah, I took it out of the red one.
Okay, now I see it. Something else changed. Your armor went to 0.
Listen, brother, I can try and do it some other way.
You did it again.
What? Bro, I'm just trying to do my best.
What are you doing?
I'm
His
trying
best.
to do
Well,
the
just
thing that
said.
you told me to do.
Your health is now back up to 9, and
You're
your
back up
armor
to
is now
9.
back to 0.
How do you feel about that?
All right, don't do anything for a second.
I'm trying to do something.
Well, stop it.
Okay,
I'm trying to do.
should be correct
do
now.
It's because of something I did.
Yes.
It's not because of you.
Okay, so that is his turn. So now we are
Okay.
going to go to the next guy who is going to target Sabas. And let's see, flip his again. Okay. So that is a 13. That is going to hit, and that is
That's a boss.
2 degrees. 4 is going to be reduced by his armor and will not do any actual damage. So you see the second archer emerge from the woods and fire a shot at Sabas. Sabas already has his sword and shield equipped, and he blocks the incoming arrow with his shield. Going to the next archer's turn. This one is going to target Nicholas. So let's see. That is a 14. And that is against a 4. That's a critical with 3 degrees of success. So 6 plus 2, or yeah, 2 base damage plus 2 because of the critical. So 4 times 3 is 12 damage coming at Nicholas. Reduced by 3 is 9. He is going to take a wound and and reduce all of that by taking a wound. So you see as the third archer emerges from the woods, he sees kind of where the other two are firing and chooses his target and fires a shot at Nicholas. Nicholas is wearing his hunting leathers that he was given at the beginning of this hunt, and you see the arrow pierce through and blood start welling at the edges. That hurt him a good bit. That is that archer's turn. Going up here to the north side, let me make sure that they can see everybody that is doing the attacking. That's almost everybody. There's everybody. Okay, so archer number 4's turn. He is going to take a shot at Ser Byren.
Tell him to cut it out.
That is a 13. That is a hit with 2 degrees of success. Their 4 damage is not going to pierce his half plate. So you see Ser Byren has already... he's still wearing the half plate armor from the boar hunt, and he has drawn his 2-handed greatsword. No shield. As he is preparing to engage with Ser Byren, you see an archer behind him take a shot, and it glances off the side of his armor and startles him, but does no actual damage. The next archer is going to take a shot at Brandith. And that is a 9. That just hits, but is not going to be enough damage to hurt. So, at this arrow that has glanced off of Ser Byren, you see Brandith turn around, and as he does, another arrow comes from the woods, and he catches it on his shield. Then you see the last archer line up a shot at... He is also going to take his shot at Brandith.
Bunch of assholes.
That is not even... Well, no, that technically just hits. But, again, is not enough to do any actual damage. So, this time, Brandith sees the other arrow coming, and instead of catching it on his shield, he does like a little side swipe, a side set swipe at it, and just knocks it out of the way. Alright, that is the archer's turn.
Oh, so you talk to him.
Next, we go to Nicholas, who is not feeling great. He is going to use his turn to try to use a combination of the trees and the boar as cover from getting shot again. So he's going to use his movement essentially to squat down behind these two things that are right here and just try to make sure he does not get shot again.
I just realized that I was muted in all my jokes about him eating a Snickers, Scott.
Aw.
I lost, man.
That's such a bummer. Yeah, so he's going to do that. Let me double check what that does for his AC, or not AC. It's not called that here. Let's see.
The other one.
Don't dare conflate these two systems.
You know, the other one.
Mm-hmm. I will have to look it up in the actual rulebook, I think. I think it is a +2 to his combat defense. So that's what he's going to do. And try and not die. That is Nicholas's turn. He hasn't taken any actual health damage, so he's not going to be able to recover. We move now to Sabas.
Come on, Sabas.
Since they're on your side of this fight, I'm going to ask you all a question. Do you want them to begin engaging the foot soldiers, or do you want them to hold here and brace for impact?
Well,
I think it would make the most sense for them just like naturally to hold here and essentially just defend Lord Tyde and also us.
Yeah, I think that makes the most sense.
Like, I
cool
mean,
with that.
they do know those other people. It's not like they want to run out and murder them. Maybe they would, Ser Byren, but the other people would just be people they know, and are just like, oh, we're not trying to fight you, but.
And frankly, it's not like Iron Hand isn't doing a great job of engaging already.
Very true.
Yep.
So,
Okay.
That's just how I feel about that.
Everyone in agreement?
yes.
I think
They will act defensively. All right. They will act defensively then.
We got about 3 people they need to be defending.
Yeah, so Sabas is... Yeah. Seeing where the swords are, Sabas is going to take a couple of steps forward in front of Lord Camren and prepare to engage these sword wielders when they come into range. But also, Ser Byren's right there, so that's what he's going to do. Brandeth, I think, is going to step in towards Nicholas and try to shield him from that angle. I'll grant him a little bit more of a bonus to his AC. To his combat defense. There it is. Okay, so that is Sabas and Brandeth. That brings us to Thali.
It's time, baby. Boom, 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 boom. No. So
Yeah, we'll go see some shit.
yeah, it's time. Thali is first of all needs to move just a scooch.
You don't like being right there?
No, not particularly. No. Probably gonna. I think he's just gonna move. How about there? Is that
Yeah, you can do that.
game okay? And I can still get a bead on Byron.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's what Thali's gonna do. Just get away from him a little bit. Now, Drew.
Yep.
Thali has the ability to and would like to fire 3 arrows.
Mm-hmm.
So Thali is gonna triple shot.
All right.
God damn.
Who are your targets?
Byron and Byron and Byron.
All three at Ser Byren.
I think that Thali's assessment of the situation is that there is one, chess piece that needs to fall, and then perhaps the others will feel a certain way about that.
All right.
So-
Go ahead, and you've got 3 attacks. Each of these is going to have... and I'm probably going to have to pull up my actual dice because I think with the wounds and minuses from injuries, I'm going to have to roll physical dice. Go ahead. You're going to be making 3 attacks, and each of those attacks is going to have 2 penalty dice to it. So you're going to be rolling the 7 test dice and 5 bonus dice.
Mm-hmm.
Then you drop the lowest 5 and then drop the another 2. So
Lowest,
drop the lowest
okay.
7.
Got it. All right, I gotta turn my light back on. Ain't no way I can do this. There's a little box.
Yeah.
All right, hang on. Boop. All right, here we go.
Okay.
Pitter patter. I'm dropping a lot. I'm dropping the lowest 7. Right?
Dropping the lowest 7. Yes.
Right.
Lowest 7.
It's ridiculous that you have 7 to drop, but you know.
Okay.
Well,
22.
you're counting dice.
22.
Shoutouts to. Oh shit.
22. 1-6.
All right, that is exactly a critical hit. So that 1/6 is going to add 2 to your base damage. What's your
Base damage is
Base
5,
damage?
so 7 coming in, and
7
piercing of 1.
piercing of 1, and then that 7 is multiplied by degrees of success. There are 3 degrees that you just hit, so that's 21 damage. He is going to have to take another wound, which
on it,
he
bro.
can do
What
and does.
I'm just saying, he's gonna be the Black Knight before too long.
You fire another
No.
shot,
Well,
and
you do know the Black Knight always triumphs.
Black Knight always triumphs.
Well, whatever.
yeah, always.
He don't got no arms or legs. Is what I'm saying.
He's invincible.
All right, another one and dropping the lowest 7.
That is correct.
How
ahead
many
and count
dice
them
are
out.
you rolling?
12.
A lot.
It's what, 1,
Yeah.
2, 3, 4,
Too many.
5. discount.
Go ahead and shout them out, Colin.
Oh yeah, Disjointed Aria rated us. A friend of mine,
Oh,
hell of a streamer, hell of an artist, gave us a little bit of a raid there.
fuck yeah. Thank you so
Shout
much.
them out.
Oh, cool.
25 with 3 6s.
Jesus.
Oh, shit. Okay.
All right.
3 6s is another one of those, what is it? Crippling wound, I think is what it's called.
No, 3 looks
me-
like a bloody wound.
Double check. Oh, bloody wound. Crippling wound is 4. That's right.
Yeah,
Bloody
you're right.
wound. So yeah, he is going to, in addition to the damage dealt, have to take another injury, bringing him up to 2 injuries. And to handle the damage that you're bringing in, he is also going to have to take another wound, which he does.
Good lord. That's 2 arrows that you've shot at him now?
That
2
is-
of the 3?
3 arrows that he has shot at him. Well,
Well,
2 of
so
the 3.
far.
Sorry, 2 of the 3 for this turn. Yes.
Jesus. Put him down.
I'm trying, dog. Shall we go again?
I mean, it's the
You've
only
got
thing he's
1
got.
arrow left. Yeah, go ahead and make your shot.
For those of you that don't know, that haven't been keeping up with our exploits on YouTube, Bartholomew is an archer, and is the best archer. In fact, it's the only thing that he does.
True.
It's the only thing he's
That's
good at.
fact.
It's actually the only thing he's good at. But it means that he gets to do things like fire 3 arrows at once in a turn.
24 with 1 6.
A 24 with 1 6 will defeat him.
That is correct, it will.
Hey!
So,
Is enough to do it. He had. Yeah. All right. How do you defeat him?
Thali, man, I should have prepared something for this. So here we go. Improv, don't fail me now. Thali is going to, with some amount of grit and determination, like you said, realize that the chess piece that needs to fall is the one. Is there chess in this world? Who's to say?
There is
Someone.
not.
Jordan
There is
Clark.
another game called
Something
Savas.
like
Sabas!
Savas.
the other.
Oh, I
Close.
was about to say cool. Okay.
Nope. Or Sivas. I'm not sure how you
something-
pronounce it. But
Not to be confused with a galaxy far, far away's Sabak.
Oh boy.
correct.
So, realizing this, Thali's going to take a step back and level his shot. Fire 3 arrows in quick succession, and as he loses the last one, turn to Brandith and say, for a little flavor, he's going to knock the arrow, pull, look at Brandith and say, seems I got the biggest one, and then release.
Okay. What happens with that arrow?
Straight through the neck. I don't want to hear this man talk anymore. I mean, but if you have something cool that he needs to say, then he can gurgle it out.
No. With that, Ser Byren, you see incensed charge at the group. You hear Nicholas behind you take an arrow, and as Ser Byren is charging forward, Sabas moves to intercept, and you move behind him and Lord Camren and fire off 3 arrows in the span of 6 seconds. The last of which just takes the shocked Ser Byren Rocke directly through the throat. You see, excuse me. You see,
Through the right there.
you see. I mean, he at this point he has lowered his great helm onto his head, so you no longer see his face. But your arrow takes him just underneath where that helmet covers his face, and you hear the burst of chain links as your arrow slices through and punches out the back of his neck, and you see his body fall limp and slide off the side of his horse.
Thali reaches back into his quiver and just holding the bow and arrow kind of in one hand is just gonna kind of look around at the archers in the mountains and say, "Who's next?"
All right. That is Thali's turn. It is now Lord Camren's turn. He no longer has a target for his fighting attacks, but he's still got a bow. So he is going to take a shot at... Oh, I guess I should mark that this guy has in fact been killed.
Murder.
Lord Camren, looking around, and the archers do in fact still look to be readying their next arrows. The soldiers do seem to still be on approach. If anything, they may not have realized exactly what's happened yet, or if they do, they still see what they came here for.
Cool.
So they're still coming after you. Lord Camren, seeing them still advancing, is going to take a shot at this already wounded one. And that is with his hunting bow. That is an 8. I don't think that... Oh, that is enough to just hit. Does his damage do enough? Let us see. Don't think it's going to. 2? No. So, Lord Camren, seeing the guards, his own guards, still advancing towards him, is going to take his hunting bow and fire off a shot at that soldier nearest to Iron Hand, and he catches that arrow on his shield as well. He likes where he is, so he's going to stay put, which means that we move now to the Tyde soldier's turn.
Oh boy.
This guy closest to Iron Hand is going to go first because he's right here. And he is going to step towards you and take a swing at you with his long sword. Oh, wait. I'm going to have to do this by hand.
Bummer.
Because he's wounded. So he's taking...
Sure is.
Taking some... let's see.
I'd say he's got a big old gaping wound on him.
He does have a wound. That is not so hot.
On account of the being shanked.
That is an 8 to hit.
Yeah, that doesn't hit.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. All right, I don't think even with his wound gone, he would have been able to hit you with what he rolled. That's his move and his action, so that is going to be his turn. The next soldier is going to use his movement. I don't think... Double check. Nope, their movement is 3. He cannot quite reach Sabas.
Good.
So he is going to get close, and that is all he can do.
Leave my friend Sabas alone.
The next one is going to step towards Iron Hand and take another swing.
Step 2.
All right, this guy I can use this for, so he's going to do it from here. That is a 13. A 13 does hit, does it not? Okay.
He's got
And
a
that is a base damage of 5, which
Armor rating of
reduced reduced by your armor rating of 6 is not going to do it. So you
heal by 1 point. Yes, thank you.
You see this second soldier in the garb of the Tyde guards rush towards you with shield and longsword and takes a slash at you, which catches you full in the chest, but the coin armor that you are wearing is able to absorb the blow. No damage.
Come on, you can do better than that.
He can. He's rolling real shit right now.
He can.
He can do better. The next one is going to use his movement to get as close as he can, which is not close enough to actually hit anybody because everybody stayed still. That is going to do it for the Tyde soldiers, which brings us back to the top with Iron Hand.
Yeah, it does.
I've played my fair share of Fire Emblem. I know when I have a choke point.
Right? I know how this works.
I know when I have a choke
Archer
point.
behind the front line, let them come to me.
That's right.
I don't care if it takes 30 turns. I'm playing it safe.
Right.
Leveling up somebody.
I'm not losing any of these units.
Somebody's like working on experience. I just promoted somebody. We're not. Yeah. Iron Hand's gonna kind of look. So Iron Hand, Castle Forged stiletto in one hand, gauntleted, fist in the other. Takes this blow from this long sword and kind of laughs. Snaps one of the coins off of his arm and flips it to the soldier that attacked him. Before he turns around to the soldier he wounded previously and grabs him for another stab.
All right, go ahead and give me another attack. And I will say you've got 2 people in melee range. Have you looked at like divided attacks or those things? All right. If you want to do any of those special attacks, let me know. If not, I will assume it's just the standard lesser attack action.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, you can absolutely take your attack at that guy that you've already wounded.
Yeah, I'm gonna swing at that guy.
All right, go ahead and roll.
Give him my full and undivided attention for now.
Deserves it, after all.
That is. It's a 19 to hit with 1/6.
A 19 is just a crit, so that 6 is gonna take your damage to, or is gonna add 2 to your damage. So your base damage, you're doing this with the gauntlet +1, so 6.
Mm-hmm.
Plus 2 to 8 with 3 piercing.
Piercing of 3.
All right, reduced by. Let's see. And degrees of success. Let's see, that was 8, which is 2, 8, 16. Yeah, okay, yeah, he has to. He is going to take another wound. And you grab and stab into him again, a thrust similar to the first in a similar placement, and you see him grunt in pain. Looks to be barely holding it together.
As he pulls the knife away and releases this guy, Radova just smiles. You should really run away. This isn't going your way now, is it?
Okay. That is Iron Hand's turn. That brings us to Ser Byren.
Look at you. Just put the gun down and lay down on the ground.
Why don't you just let it? You haven't even got a name tag.
Sir.
Sign, who your wife is, none of that shit.
We don't
Sir-
know nothing about you.
Ser Byren is going to do the quick math in his head and see that this person approaching is going to get here on their turn and is going to wait until after they get here to take his turn.
Cool.
So don't let me get all the way to the beginning without him having done that. I shouldn't forget, but in case I do. So that's what Ser Byren is going to do. Ser Byren is deceased, so that brings us to Martan.
All right. Well, what I will do is. Okay. will move. Actually, you know what? I am just going to take the dodge action, and while doing so, move half of my movement. I'll move into these woodsy woods right here, and
Into the woodsy
my
forest.
agility. And my combat defense will now be a 7.
All right. Yeah, that's a cool little mechanic. Yeah, that takes you from a 3 to a 7.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like something to keep me alive.
Yeah, your armor is really slowing you down, really making you an easy target. Okay.
But while in doing that, I will shout out, everyone. These were Lord Tyde men, but save at least 2.
You got it.
Oh,
Whatever you say.
My lord.
all right. That is Martin's turn. That brings us to the archers again. All right, so archer numero uno is going to take a shot at, let's see, who is this? Sabas. That is an 18 with 3 sixes.
Oh, so awesome.
Which is a critical hit, which is a bloody wound, meaning that he will have to take an injury. Okay. Oh, whoops. I did the
Come
thing.
on, boss.
And let's see, that does not reduce any of the incoming damage. The bow only deals 2 with 3 degrees of success. So that's actually not anything incredible. And Sabas's armor is going to actually be able to accept most of that, which means he's only going to take 1 damage to his health.
All right.
Forced injury is nasty, though.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it is. Okay, that's the first archer. The second archer is going to take a shot at Thali.
Okay.
You ready? You prepared?
I reckon.
That is an 8 to hit,
Hell yeah.
which hits, but is going to deal 2 damage, no degrees of success, or, well, 1 degree of success, so 2 damage, which is reduced by your armor of 3, which means that your leather armor is able to deflect this arrow.
Staying right it is.
Mm-hmm.
My God.
All right.
Copy all of a sudden.
The
Mine?
next...
Great.
The third archer is going to take his shot at Thali as well. And
They're jealous.
wow, it's a 10. That is still only going to be 1 degree. So it again is blocked by your armor.
Dude, I'm having my Kurt Russell moment.
Yeah, just straight up.
No.
Okay, so the next archer is going to take a shot at Ser Byren. That is an 11 to his 8, but his armor is going to absorb as well. Next archer, they are just rolling awful. 14 to hit Brandeth. Okay, finally some degrees, but no 6s. Which means, what is that? 14 is 2 degrees, times 2 is 4. Yep, his armor is going to absorb that. So he catches another arrow on his shield. And the last archer is going to take their shot at Brandeth, because he is not hiding behind cover. That's a 9. Alright, alright. Another arrow into Brandeth's shield.
That's
That is it for the archers. Brings us to Nicholas, who can't really do anything to help anyone. He will, actually. Yes, he can. He is going to use his turn to aid Brandith on his next fighting test.
Nice.
Smart. Great. Good.
Yep. Alright, so that brings us to Sabas, who is close enough that he is just going to go ahead and engage with this guy right in front of him. And Sabas is going to attack with his longsword. There's a 16 to hit with 1/6 against an 8, which is exactly what he needs to crit, which means his base damage is going to go up by 2. So Sabas's damage with the longsword is 5. That's a 7 damage times 2, so 14. It's 5.
Sorry, y'all. It's gross.
He has to accept a wound. All right, so you see Sabas just kind of run up to this other guardsman and shove aside his shield, and as he's shoving that aside, he slides his sword in underneath the exposed area now, and you hear it cut into mail and into flesh, and the guard lets out a shriek of pain. And that is Sabas's turn. That brings us to Brandith, who is not close enough to engage with anyone, so he, like Ser Byren, is going to wait, which takes us to Thali.
Yep. Definitely having his Kurt Russell moment. He's going to fire at the 3 archers to the east.
Okay. Let's do it. Go ahead and give me a shot on that first one.
We got any sponsors? We got any ad reads?
Right.
Yeah. Nope, no
Tonight's
sponsors.
game is
No ad reads.
sponsored by.
I can
the
say
four of
thank you
us.
again to Disjointed Aria for the raid. I can do that much.
That's all we got, really.
That's what I can do. And thank you to all who are watching this live. I've wanted to do this for a while now, and it's fun as hell to be able to finally do this.
Right. It's a good time.
24 with 1/6 on, let's say, this guy.
All right. So a 24 is definitely going to crit. So that 1/6 is going to take you to the whatever that thing's called.
Solid hit.
Solid hit. Okay. So +2 damage to your base damage.
Base damage is 5, so it becomes 7.
7. All right. Times degrees. So that's good. He is gonna take a wound so that he does not immediately die. So you fire off a shot and catch him in the midsection and knock him back a couple of steps. Still standing, but not looking great.
Okay. I'm not going to change my plan.
All right.
Just wound them all and send a message.
Yeah.
Eventually, you're gonna get like the full 6 roll, and it's gonna be absurd.
This one's nasty.
Oh boy. What you got?
26 with 2 6s.
2 6s. Well, that is going to increase your base damage by 4,
On this guy.
which will also give him a wound. So, similarly, you catch him in the middle and staggers him, still standing but hurt. All right.
All right,
Take a shot at this last guy. Yeah, this guy right here.
Ugh. This one's bad. 16 with 1/6.
16 is still enough to crit, so that 6 is going to turn your base damage to 7 again, which is, let's see, 3 degrees, so 21. Yeah, he still has to take a wound. There is no other way around it.
This one's bad.
You're still dealing a ridiculous amount of...
16 is like the lowest that I've ever rolled.
Yeah. Which is
That's
insane.
not during combat.
Mm-hmm. All right, so that is your attack. So that's a greater action to do that. Yeah, you can't move and do that. So that's your turn.
Oh, I did that last turn. So
Oh, you moved and did it? All right, it doesn't matter.
If you want to retcon me, we can put me back in that square. I'm happy to do that if you want.
Yeah, let's do it just for continuity, or just to stay true to the rules as we get them. Cool. All right, that is your turn. So that takes us to Lord Camren, who is
stunned and impressed.
Yes, that. But he also, I think, smells the blood and is going to take some steps forward and attack this guardsman with his boar spear. So that's a 9, which will hit. And then let's see, his base damage with the boar spear. Okay, it's only 3. Which is not gonna pierce the armor. So Lord Camren rushes up with his boar spear. Just at this point, I think he sees Ser Byren struck dead by Thali. He sees just the amount of work he's putting in and wants to get in on this and rushes up with the tool that he has to hand, which is his two-handed boar spear, and shoves it at this guardsman of his, and it makes it past the shield and sword and just kind of gets caught in the chainmail but doesn't seem to have done any actual damage. That is Lord Camren's turn, and that brings us to the soldier's turn. We'll start with the one that's right there. Martan, roll a d6. On a 1 to 3, he'll attack Sabas. On a 4 to 6, he'll attack Lord Camren.
All right. That's a 6.
All right, he is gonna attack Lord Camren then. That is a 14 with no 6s. That is gonna hit. Let me see what their base damage is. I think it's a 4, 5. That is, let's see, 14 is 2 degrees. So 10 minus 3 is 7. Lord Camren is going to take an injury, which will take 2 of that incoming damage, and then he's going to take the rest as health damage, which will be 5, which takes him down to 1 with 1 injury.
Way to go, James!
Oh, God damn it. I did the thing again.
Okay, it was my
I
roll.
did not use that.
I can't defend myself at all, can I?
Just like set it nice to the side for a little while.
Yeah, that one's gotta go. That
You
goes
rolled
in the
well,
bad.
but you fucked us. I don't...
That goes in the bad
Purple
pile.
will not be rolled again this
It's
evening.
on timeout.
Okay, that
6.
is that soldier's turn. That brings us to the one that is right in front of Iron Hand. He is gonna do his best to try and hit him. Let's see.
I believe
Long
you.
sword.
You've got it this time.
That is, what is that? 4, 5. Let's see. He's got a. What does this guy even have? No. 2 wounds. Yes.
Oh yeah. He got stabbed twice.
Okay. Well, that is an 8. That is not going to do it. He is going to take a swing at you and not even manage to hit you. When he sees that, he is going to move away from you. But towards the action and his friends.
There's no kind of attack of opportunity.
I
don't remember.
Cannot remember. There may be.
Because if there is, I'm gonna grab him by the scruff of his neck and drag his ass back here.
Yeah, let's see.
Yoink!
I think it would be in the big rule book, which I unfortunately do not have pulled up. I think I can get there quickly though.
This episode of a game of Ice and Fire brought to you by Zaxby's. What a huge get Zaxby's was.
Well, I mean,
Unofficially,
Still wants to be sponsored by Zaxby's all these years later.
drink it in obscurity.
Okay, let's see.
we're not in Statesboro anymore. We're not getting that crowd.
Yeah,
I
no.
think James is doing the ad read of a century, and you guys are still talking about Zaxby's over there.
I think you're right.
Colin, you are out of focus, my guy.
Yeah, I don't know why.
I want to know.
Fuzzy, like my vision's bad.
That's what it is. It's
You are over there pounding White Claws.
They're White Claws, and I'm not pounding them. I'm on my 3rd in 2.5 hours, so
Cheers, James.
hold off there. Also, it's the last one in the box, so
Yeah,
I
this
won't
is
have
my last.
any more drinks unless I decide I'm going to drink champagne at... Oh, never mind. Megan tells me that she drank all the champagne, so...
Well-
Champagne.
Do I have any more tequila?
I was about to say, time to get to the hard stuff, brother. Let's go.
Yeah, I don't know. Discord's been doing that to me lately. I don't know why.
Just straight punch Discord.
Sort of like let it refocus in the dark here.
Let's see.
Okay.
It's not gonna do anything.
Nope.
That did not help.
Is it me or is it
Best I
James
can-
White Claws?
Best I can do is turn it off and turn it back on again and hope that it fixes itself.
What?
And I don't know if that'll fuck up the overlay.
It will.
Megan.
I learned the hard way. Now I just have to get up and walk off screen like an idiot.
Okay, let's see. What even was the question anymore? We were trying to figure out if...
Opportunity attack.
Opportunity attack, that's what it was. Well,
You made me touch it.
I have passed certainly that section. I also wanted to figure out what the cover bonus was, because I... Yeah, let's see. Oh, never mind. Oh, shit. That does a lot more than I was thinking. So, real quick, because cover...
So real quick, I'll be right back because for some reason Discord doesn't like it when I click on someone else's window and bring it to focus, because if I do that, everybody else's visuals just drop out for no reason whatsoever.
Oh,
Fascinating.
well, that's
Oh,
good.
disconnect. Reconnect.
Alright, it'll probably screw things up for us for a second, so beware.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, am I gonna?
It's okay, just do it real quick and we will survive.
Who am I gonna be?
Right now, you're Radova.
Am I?
Like, yeah, and I'm you.
Oh, I'm Radova. That's why did I become Canadian?
Don't know.
That's very different, yeah.
Don't have any idea. Yeah,
I
no.
cannot do those accents. I really cannot do anything from that
Only
island.
messed up for a brief moment.
Yeah, only for a second there, you're good.
I don't know. It looks like I'm the narrator now. Drew.
Sorry,
Thali is
Everybody
the one who
watch
wins
mine.
all of this stuff.
that was.
All of the stuff.
Yeah.
All of a
Suffering
sudden.
be blurry, I guess.
Everything's
Let's
so
see.
blurry.
Oh my god.
You need to quit.
I'm sure they've made
want
asses
to
of themselves
see.
on Twitter, right?
At least once, probably.
No band that I liked as a teen
With the exception of
has
Eve,
I was about to say, has a clean track record.
Eve 6 is still delightful.
I cannot find it, but I'm pretty sure that there is. Oh, let's see. Changing it. Nope, that's not
Bitch, and ye
it.
shall receive.
Interrupting actions. Is that it? No, that's not it. High ground. Let's see. Attacking objects, smashing weapons, advanced actions.
Got a joke.
It's like episode 12 of the new system, and we're still like...
Yeah, still figuring it out. I'm using these little things to introduce rules at a little bit at a time, and I don't remember this one. I am just gonna, for time's sake, I'm going to say, oh wait, free attacks. Best used with optional reach rules. Let's see. One combatant incautiously moves away from the other combatant. Yep, there we go. Anytime a character starts inside another enemy's optimal weapon reach and uses an action to move more than 1 yard, the character is at risk of being hit by a free attack. The enemy compares his or her... Okay, so this is a little different. The enemy compares his or her passive fighting result to the character's combat defense. Should the passive result equal or beat the character's combat defense, the enemy hits and deals damage as normal. Once the character is no longer inside another combatant's optimal reach, he or she may spend actions to move normally. So, your passive fighting is what we're going with here. So what is your base fighting?
4.
Alright, your passive is your ranks times 4. So 16. A 16
Heck yeah, dog.
does hit. So you are going to deal damage as normal. What was your base damage? 6?
Yeah. If it's 5 without the offhand, I don't know if the offhand will count for this attack, but if so, then yeah.
Let's say that it does. I am not going. Well, yeah, I'm gonna say that I'm gonna let you use it. I don't know if I should let this count for degrees of success or not, or if I should just do base damage. I feel like it should just be base
Probably
damage.
base damage.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of how the rules make it
what I-
look. So, all right. So just base damage is 6. Reduced by his armor is going to deal 1 damage to his health. All right. So that is the second soldier's turn. The third soldier, unhurt, is going to take a swing at you with his longsword. A swing at you, Iron Hand. With an 18, and this has 2 6s.
What have I done?
So this is going to take the longsword base damage of 5. And let's see, an 18... Oh, no. That's not a critical hit because it doesn't double your combat defense because your combat defense is a 10.
It's true.
So those 6s only help him with the numbers. So that is an 18. That is still 2 degrees of success, which means that you have 10 damage coming at you. So that is no piercing,
Reduced
so
by
it's going to be
6.
reduced by 6, so 4 damage, and you can handle that however you would like.
Let's see here. So I'm still taking 4.
You are still taking 4. Mm-hmm.
You know what? I'll just take the 4.
Attaboy.
All right. Tough it out.
All right.
Me down to 5 health.
Yep. Do you... You're able to do that yourself, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Done. He...
You don't need Papa to hold your hand for that?
Yeah.
I'm good.
Okay, he takes a swing at you, and this time is able to catch you. He catches you in the chest again. This time it winds you a good bit. Doesn't pierce the iron, but takes a little bit out of you.
There you go. Now you're learning.
Okay, and that brings us to the last soldier, who is going to use his movement to get up to Ser Byren. And then he is going to swing at Ser Byren with his longsword. And that is a 15, which is going to beat, but not crit. And let's see, that is 2 degrees. 5 is 10, which is going to be reduced by his 9 armor rating, meaning that he is going to take 1 health damage. That is it.
Oh boy.
That is the guy's movement and action. So Ser Byren, having waited, is going to take a swing with his greatsword.
Get him, Ser Byren. Fuck him up.
Yeah.
Two
Yeah.
people waited. Did you resolve with them?
Not yet. Brandeth is next.
My boy.
So that is an 18 with the greatsword, no 6s. That is enough to crit, but no 6s means nothing extra happens. That is 3 degrees. And Ser Byren deals a whopping 8 damage.
All right.
8 base damage with his greatsword. Times
How's he
3.
do it?
Huh?
How's he do it?
How does he do what?
You know.
He swings the sword. How's he
I have to do the damage part first.
Don't rush
She's
in.
like,
Don't
I'm
rush
just
me.
here.
Yeah, I'm not
He's
done
telling
explaining
the
it.
story.
So let's see. That
Don't bore
was
the viewers with numbers through.
well. They got to know how much damage is happening. So 8 times 3. Yeah, he just there's nothing he can do but take a wound. So you see Ser Byren take the hit from this guard's long sword, and just, I mean, you can tell that it, did something, but you see this sturdy young knight that has served your household for a little while now just kind of shrug that off and take a big swing with his two-handed steel greatsword, and you just see it bite through the tabard and mail above the man's left shoulder where he's holding his shield and leave a bloody path. That is Ser Byren's turn. Brandeth is going to take a step forward and take a swing at this same soldier with his long sword. Holy shit. He rolled a 22 with 2 6s.
Nice.
So that is definitely a crit. With 2 6s means a +4 to his 5. So that's a 9 base damage. And that is 14. So 3 degrees. That is going to leave a second wound on this guy for sure. So Brandeth takes a step up, and seeing what Ser Byren has just done, seeing the wounded left arm holding the shield, slices in behind with his long sword and catches him in the back. And this slash cuts through more of that ring mail, and this man is left reeling. Looks to be very hurt. And that is Brandeth's turn, which means that the 2 people that held their turn are done, so we are back to the top with Iron Hand.
Hey, it's me again. So the other guys run off, and Iron Hand being accommodating sort of. Took a swipe at him and let him go. And after taking that hit from this other guy, has now does the sort of slow turning. He cranes his neck to look over his shoulder, and then the rest of his body kind of follows. Well, since you want a piece of me so bad, let's play.
You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
Throw a dice on the floor somewhere. Oh, there it is. Just like casually on the floor for good luck.
Yeah,
That's right.
let's do it.
And oh, okay. So there's no 6s, but it is a 20 to hit. That is
Ooh, yeah.
4 5s and a 1.
Damn, dude. All right, well, you said a 20?
Stupid. Yeah, 20 to hit.
All right, well, a 20 definitely hits. Oh, that's including your +2, right?
No, that was not including the +2. That's 22.
Okay, so it's a 22 to hit. So that is going to be 3 degrees. So what's your base damage? 6?
6.
All right, that is going to wound this guy as well. You are able to, after practicing in the yard with Ser Byren, finding the weak points of his half plate, you absolutely know where the weak points are in chainmail, and your stiletto is specifically forged to handle that. So you just run up to this one, or really just turn around to face this one who has come up from behind you, and knock his shield aside and slide your dagger or your stiletto in for a quick in and out. You feel that it has done its damage as well. That is your attack. You still have your movement if you wish to use it.
Radova is not really going to move. Not move, but is definitely going to take a step to one side and plant himself more firmly between this man and the end. Not that he thinks this guy's going to run off, but the last one did.
Right.
All right. That is within his reach, so he is not going to attack. That takes us to Ser Byren, who is going to take another slice at this person directly in front of him with his great sword. That is a 19 with 1/6, which means his damage is going to turn into a 10. Let's see, with 3 degrees. That is going to do it. So you see, after Ser Byren has taken this one slash and pretty well disabled this man's left arm, Brandith comes in behind him with a quick slash to the back, and as he takes this second hit, he kind of leans backward, and as he does, you see Ser Byren seize the opportunity and take one full double-handed swing, and you see the blade slice through, and it seems like it has met nothing at first, until the man crumples and his head rolls off to the side.
Atta boy.
Right.
Brutal.
That's what we like to see. That's what we like to hear.
Okay, that is his action. He is then going to use his movement to get up 1, 2, 3, so that he can engage with this guy. That is his turn. That brings us to Martin.
Come on, Martin. Don't get killed.
Right. It seems so easy, right?
That's all you can do, bud.
All you gotta do.
Get killed. Alright, I will make a move. Can't move that far.
Maybe not
Nope.
that far.
Maybe not.
I mean,
that far.
you could if you sprinted, but
I'm not going to. That was an accident. We're going to move here. And then we are going to take a shot with my bow at that dude, the wounded archer on the bottom.
this guy right here?
The guy, yeah.
Cool, go ahead and take your shot.
Alrighty. Oh, perfect.
Get him.
That is a 6.
A 6. All right, what is your damage?
With
That does
the
hit.
bow.
Mm-hmm.
It is a
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the one though.
Yeah, it should be just your base agility.
Then it is 2.
2. Alright. Well, it's 1 degree of success with a 6. So the 2 is going to get absorbed by the armor. But that did hit. So you line up your shot. Actually, have you... Well, nope, never mind. Yeah, that's what happens. So you line up your shot at this archer that already appears to have been wounded by one of Folly's arrows, and you, now that you have kind of quieted yourself from the, immediate danger that was Ser Byren, you take your shot and it manages to hit, but it looks like the chainmail armor that they're wearing was able to absorb the hit, and the arrow glances off to the side. Alright, that is a move and an action. That brings us to the archer's turn. Okay. They are going to, starting with this guy, take their shots. This guy is going to shoot at Sabas, who is right in front of him. Oh wait, I have to do these manually because they are wounded.
Mm-hmm, that's right.
Let's see, so what is there?
I could come out of a tin can there.
Roll them real.
Yeah, that was kind of weird. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're just really
Your
close
wife's
up on
been
it. Let's see. Oh, that's still a really good roll. With the penalty, that is still an 11 to hit, which will hit, but Brandith's armor is going to be enough to handle the damage. It's only 1 degree. So Sabas, one of the arrows flies out of the top of the hill over to your, I guess it would be your left if you're in your people's bodies, to the right of the map. And this arrow kind of glances off the top of his helmet. The second archer is going to take a shot at Sabas, also wounded, so I will take that into account. That was miserable. That is a 5. This one misses entirely. And the third one,
Toot.
let's see. The third one will take a shot at Thali.
Yo.
That is a 9 to hit.
Okay, and my combat defense is 7+1.
Okay, so it does hit with 2 damage. There, your armor is gonna absorb that one too.
Nice.
Okay, that brings us to the archers to the top side of the map, and they are unwounded. So let's see. He is gonna take a shot at Brandith. That is a 16 to hit with 2 6s. That is just enough to crit. So his base damage of 2 is going to increase by 4. So 6 times 2 degrees is 12. So 5 armor means that 7 damage is coming through. Brandith can take it. So he will.
Attaboy.
Sweet.
Okay, no wounds or injuries to Brandith yet.
Yet.
This arrow you see pierces some of the links in his chainmail, but does not seem to have done any actual physical harm to him. Alright, the next one is going to take a shot at Brandith as well. That is another 16 with 2 6s, an almost identical roll. So let's see. That's going to be the exact same result. So what did I say? 7 damage. This time, he will have to take... This time he has to take a wound. An injury is not going to do it. So this time, this arrow pierces the chainmail and leaves a mark. Brandeth looks hurt, but looks like he still is able to continue on fighting. The second arrow looks like it has done some damage. That takes us to Nicholas, who is going to step up, and this time he is going to assist Martan on his next marksmanship test. This will grant you a bonus dice to your next marksmanship test.
Nice.
Cool.
Alright, that is Nicholas's turn, bringing us to Sabas, who is going to take a swing at this guy right in front of him. His long sword. Let's see. Nope, I gotta do this the hard way. Alright, Sabas. Nope, Sabas is not wounded. I don't have to do this the hard way. That is a 13 to hit with 1/6. I don't think that's enough to crit. It is not. So, let's see. That's 2 degrees with a 5 is 10 damage. That is not enough to give him a wound, but is enough to do some actual damage to him.
Nice.
So, he is going to take 5 damage to his health. That is Sabas's turn. Brandeth will now, let's see, what can he do? He is going to step over Ser Byren's corpse and move his horse aside so that he can take a swing at this guy at the very bottom, right here. Let's see, and that was Brandeth, who is wounded. So he will, fighting of 4. What is it, 1? Ooh, that was a good roll. Dropping a 3 and a 4. That's 1/6 for a total of 16. Which is enough to crit, which means that 6 is going to add a +2 to his 5, making it a 7. 16 is 3 degrees, 21 damage. Yep, that is enough. So excuse me, Brandeth, after taking a wound, you see him, now that this guard has been dealt with, and Martan seems to be out of immediate danger, he sees Lord Camren engaged with 2 other guards and rushes over to help him, shooing Ser Byren's horse away and stepping over his corpse to take a swing at this guard, who has just finished running from Iron Hand over to this group, and the wind kind of knocked out of him. He's already bleeding from 2 wounds. Brandeth just comes up and knocks his shield aside and shoves his long sword through the stomach, and you see the tip of his long sword emerge from the back of this guard. And as he pulls his sword from him, the guardsman kind of crawls forward a bit and then lays still.
Gnarly.
And that is the end of that one. That is Brandon's turn. That brings us to Thali.
Hey, it's me. I guess I'm gonna shoot at those friggin' archers again, who need to be gone.
Okay.
So
are you
wound the
triple?
other set and make them worse.
it's true.
Are you triple shotting the 3 that you've already shot, or are you triple shotting the other 3, or some combination thereof?
Well, my instincts tell me to. I'm going back to our game of whatever you said was not chess. Remove pieces from the board. That's my goal. So
All right.
let's shoot at the 3 that are wounded.
They're archers. Surely they can't last that long.
One would think.
Okay. 25 with 1/6.
25 with 1/6.
Yes.
You-
On the southernmost one.
All right. You fire off a shot at the southernmost archer who has already been hit by one of your arrows and who Martin just struck with another of his. As he is readying his next arrow, you catch him in the kind of upper left chest and knock him back to the ground. He does not get up.
A 30 with 5 6s.
Jesus.
Oh my god. Well,
AKA, I got the roll that Colin was talking about. AKA Yahtzee, baby.
okay, well this...
Is
How
it-
many 6s did you say?
5. All 5
5.
6s.
Okay,
That's-
well, that's a killing blow. Your attack
That's a
kills your
instant
opponent
kill.
instantly.
That-
Yeah. So in the future, if you ever roll
Rad.
5 6s with a critical hit, your attack kills your opponent instantly. So how does your arrow kill this poor unfortunate archer of
Poor unfortunate soul.
House Tyde?
This guy is aiming down his bow at the people around me, and this just like essentially crawls right up his arm into his eye. Just it's essentially ricochets off of his arm into his eye.
Yeah. All right. Fuck yeah. Well, he is dead. That leaves one more on the southern hill here.
Ooh, very close. 29 with 4 6s.
4 6s. That's the one. That is a crippling wound. That is the one that
Yeah.
immediately gives him an extra wound. He would not be able to take the extra wound, so he is also struck immediately dead by your arrow. So 3 arrows, 3 kills there on that turn.
And Thali's just gonna whip around to the other 3 on the other side and say the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah, he's not gonna say anything. He's just gonna whip around to him and kind of look at them wildly.
All right.
Well, sorry. He will say something.
All right. What does he say?
How many more of you must die for you to realize that this is over? He just looks at the 3 on the hill on the other side.
Okay. Let's see. Yeah. Cool. That is going to be it for your turn. So let's bring it. That brings us to Lord Camren, who is still in a fury and is going to attack the person in front of him with the boar spear again,
Cool.
and hope to do better.
I believe in you. Lord
So
Tyde.
that is better. That's an 11 with 1 6, which is enough to hit. I don't know his base damage. What did we say it was? 3, I think,
don't
with that thing.
3. 3 sounds right.
Yeah, not a whole lot with the boar spear. Yeah, just 3. Let's see. So that was an 11, 3. Yep. This similarly gets caught in the chainmail of the guard in front of him, cutting some links, but otherwise doing no lasting damage to the guard in front of him.
Is it just for him that it's 3 damage?
Yes.
Or is the boar spear? Okay.
It is. I think it's your athletics plus 1.
Got it.
Yeah.
Sounds right.
Yeah. All weapons deal damage based on either agility or athletics.
Got it.
Okay. So that is Lord Camren's turn. He's not gonna move. He is in the middle of a fight. Which brings us to the Tide Soldier's turn. This guy, I'm gonna make him roll to see if he is terrified. Let's see.
be afraid.
All right. Okay. He is gonna stick around, and take a swing at Lord Camren, who is right in front of him, and just try to attack him. He is wounded, which means he is going to take a penalty dice. Which helps, but not a lot. That is a 14 with 1/6. Which is a crit. What's that? Yep. So that is going to, let's see, that's a 6, so that's going to take his damage from a 5 to a 7, and that is 2 degrees, so 14 damage. Yeah, he has to take a wound. Lord Camren, you see, as he is struggling with this guardsman in front of him, he seems to have made him angry by the repeated strikes that have dealt no damage, and the guardsman takes a swing at Lord Camren, who is wearing just the leather armor that he brought for the hunt with him, and you see the sword comes in above the shield and cuts across his chest, slicing open the leather armor and revealing the cloth and flesh underneath. Lord Camren is wounded. That takes us to the next guy. I will have him also roll to see if he is terrified. That is a 7. He is terrified and is going to run. Iron Hand, you will get your free attack on him. That's a 16 to his 8, so you're going to do a damage to him as he runs away. Taking him.
He turns and runs, and Rodova just kind of swipes at him. Barely nicks it.
All right.
Coward stoops down and picks up the coin that he'd thrown at him earlier. Stuffs it like into a pouch or something. Not even worth wasting my time on you.
Okay, that brings us to the top. Iron Hand, it is now your turn.
Sure is, isn't it? I don't have a... I guess I could run that guy down, but... It seems like a waste. He seems like he's, not worth my time anymore. So, instead, Radova's just gonna turn and make his way to the archers, and he's gonna sprint to do so.
Okay.
Nice.
What is Radova's sprint speed?
Sprint of 10.
Of 10. All right. So go ahead and move 10 spaces. You can get right up to one of them.
Nice.
I sure can. Yeah, Radova watches this guy run, picks his coin up, mutters under his breath, and then turns and in a dead run just shoots through the trees and pops out right next to this archer.
All right. That is it for Iron Hand. That brings us to Ser Byren. With only one immediate threat, Ser Byren is going to step behind him and take a swing with his greatsword.
Cut him down.
That is a 19 to hit with 2 6s. So his 8 is going to become 12 damage. And that is a crit. And that is 3 degrees of success. So 36 damage coming in. So he's going to have to take another wound. He is still standing, though. You see Ser Byren come up behind him and strike a strong blow across his back. You see chain links shatter and scatter away from him, and a bloody path is left in the wake of that sword slash. He looks very hurt. That is Ser Byren's turn, turn. That brings us to Martan. You have a bonus dice on your next marksmanship test, granted you by Nicholas.
And I am going to. Oh. As I ready a shot, ready an arrow, I do shout at Iron Hand. Pin that one down. Pin that one down. I'd like two, but if we can only keep one, so be it. And loose an arrow at the archer farthest to the north.
Okay. Go ahead and make your attack roll. You said to the farthest?
Yes, correct.
Alright.
That is 6 in total.
With your bonus dice?
Yes. That bonus dice is dropped, right?
The bonus dice is dropped, yeah.
Yes.
So you drop the lowest one.
Yeah.
I will call your attention at this point to something that I did not notice before. And that is that if you don't move on your turn, you can actually take an aim lesser action.
Oh.
Which
I thought
means
was like
that you
had to
gain...
do once, and then it would take effect the next turn.
That is something else. That, I think, is the pass. That is a greater, and you take no action on your turn, but you gain 2 bonus on your next test, subject to the normal limits. You can, however, aim as a lesser action to gain a bonus dice on your next fighting or marksmanship test. The aim actions cannot stack. So you can roll another bonus dice on this if you want to aim.
Okay. If you're gonna let me do it,
I will let you do it. I was going to let you do it last turn, but you moved, and I was like, I'll save that. So that turns your 6
Total
into
remains
a...
the same. 6.
Total remains the same? All right.
I rolled a 1.
Damn. Well, your arrow does connect, but is deflected by his armor. Similar to the archer that you attacked on the south hill, the chainmail armor absorbs the damage. None goes through. Which takes us to the archer's turn. This one right in front of Radava now is not going to use his hunting bow, but is instead going to use his dagger.
All right.
And is going to roll a 5, which
Attaboy.
is
Attaboy.
not going to hit. So, startled by the sudden speed that Radava approached him with, he tosses aside his bow and pulls out the dagger from his sheath at its side and lunges towards you, but you are able to quickly sidestep the blade. No damage. The next one is going to, seeing how things have changed, is going to change their tactics a little bit. And this guy is going to fire at Martan. That is a 7 to hit. Okay, its damage is a 2. That is 7 is a... That's technically 2 degrees. No, that's not. It's only 1 degree. It's a 4. So yeah, that damage gets negated by your armor. So your bronze scale armor, you feel the impact of this arrow, and the scales hold firm, and they deflect the blow. You take no damage. The one that you have just fired at is going to take a shot at Iron Hand. with a 15, and that is with 1/6. That is not enough to crit, but that does hit. That is 2 degrees of success, which means that his 2 becomes a 4 damage, which gets negated by your armor. So,
coins.
yeah, there you go. Just bounces off the coins and skids off into the grass. No effect.
God, you're even worse than your friends were.
That is it for the archers, which brings us to Nicholas, who is going to do the same thing that he did last turn and assist Martin with his next shot. That takes us to Sabas, who is going to make an attempt to finish off this last guardsman that is proving a problem. Sabas is not wounded, so he is going to just do this here. That is a 15 to hit with 1/6. That is not a crit, but that will be 2 degrees. 10. Let's see. He is going to accept an injury so that he only has to take 2 damage and can stay up. Okay. You see Sabas is able to get past the shield of this last guardsman up in the immediate area. And kind of is able to get a slash in across his neck, cuts through some of the links and does some damage, but not enough to leave a wound, just a small injury. That is Sabas's turn. That brings us to Brandeth, who is going to take his swing at the same guy. And let's see, Brandeth is wounded. I'm going to take the top 3. Still pretty good. That's a 16 with 1/6. And that is a critical hit. That will do it.
Nice.
Brandeth, after... I think he killed the last one, too. After coming up and stabbing through the stomach of this one person, slings his blade off to the side, clearing it of some of the blood and gore, and takes a final slash at the guard that isn't running, and catches him in the back of the helmet. But the helmet, you see, crumples and the sword sticks in the back of the man's skull. You hear a short cry, and the man falls to the ground with Brandeth's sword stuck in his helmet.
Woof.
That is the last of the guards, the soldiers. That brings us to Thali.
Okay. Thali is going to spin around after having killed 3 archers to the 3 remaining, and he's going to try to honor the wishes of our little Lord Martin. And he is, he's gonna stand his ground. He's gonna aim, and he's gonna fire at. Let's fire at this guy.
Okay. Single shot or are you triple shot?
Yeah, he's gonna single shot. Well, I mean, I can't aim a triple shot, can I? Because it's
No.
a greater action, right?
That is true. Yeah.
So I'm aiming and just doing a regular shot.
Okay. So you're now rolling 13,
Correct.
taking the top 7.
The top 7 or the top 8?
7. You're getting... because you're getting the bonus dice from aiming. So it's 6 bonus dice and 7 test dice.
Got it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, Thali is just going to try to pin this guy down, essentially. That's like his goal, is to try and pin him. Did I say the farthest one away?
You did. Mm-hmm. Go ahead and make your roll.
Excellent.
taking the top 7.
Yep.
Okay. $36, 2 6s.
2 6s. All right. So that's not going to give him another injury or a wound. He is going to have to take a wound to accept all of that incoming damage. But that is not enough to take him down. You fire off a shot, and it catches him in the center of his mass, and he is in shock in the at the wound that he's received, but still standing.
Cool.
Need to get Thali some trick arrows.
Yeah, I know.
I have been
Arrow
adding
from Lucky Baby
some
out.
items that aren't on the list, and there are
Right.
arrows. Other arrows are one of those things. So,
I'm gonna be freaking Green Arrow. That's all I've ever wanted.
okay. That was both lesser actions. So that takes us to Lord Camren, who is looking around, going to definitely take the, what is it called? Catch your breath action. And he is going to roll an endurance test to try and regain some of those hit points. Because he's at 1 right now. And is going to get one of those back with his garbage roll. That's okay, though. That is a greater action, so that is his turn. There are no more time. Well, no, there is one Tide Soldier left. He is going to continue running. This time he is sprinting. So he is going to escape the battlefield. Still technically within range of arrows for the next, I'll say, couple of turns while he continues to run away. But effectively, I am just going to put him at the corner of this map so that he is... We know that he's effectively gone. Okay, that is it for the soldiers. That brings us to Iron Hand. Back up to the top.
Hey, it's me again.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, having sort of danced around this archer attacking him, and being reminded that he is supposed to be pinning at least one of these guys down for questioning, Erotica kind of grins and clears his head and leaps on this guy. And he's going to attack the same way as normal, but if it successfully hits, I would like to use the grab action as my offhand gauntlet allows me to do.
Cool. Go ahead and make your attack.
Let's see here.
Let's see, where is that? Here, I think it's...
That is 16 to hit.
Okay, any 6s?
None 6s.
None 6s. Okay, that would be enough to be a critical hit. You said 16?
Yeah.
Okay, that is 3
Two
degrees of
fails, 2
success. So what is your base damage? You said, I think it's 6, right? So yeah, okay. He is going to have to take a wound in order to still be kicking. You also what is the grab action? Read that out for me.
I remember correctly, and I don't. I just looked at it. It's the irritating thing. It's under weapon qualities. Yeah, grab weapons let you seize an opponent, preventing them from moving away from you. Whenever you successfully hit an opponent with a grab weapon, which my offhand is, and also equal or beat that opponent's passive athletics result, strength applies, You may, if you choose, grab that opponent. A grabbed opponent can only make attacks using brawling weapons or short blades, and takes a -5 penalty on their combat defense to a minimum of 1.
Okay. That does beat their passive athletics. So you do grab him. That does reduce his combat defense. You said to a minimum of 1. That is going to reduce it to a 1. And you said he can't take any actions except for the grapple action?
The only thing he can do...
Or he can use brawling
he can only make attacks using brawling weapons or short blades.
Or short blades. Okay. Well, the dagger is a short blade, so he can still attack you with that. Okay. Cool. You have successfully grabbed him. He cannot move, and his combat defense is now a 1. Okay. That is it for Iron Hand. So Ser Byren is not really able to get to anyone. He will instead use his action to attempt to heal his... Well, no, he's not. He's fine. Yeah, I guess he'll... No, he can still try to use his hunting bow. He's got a hunting bow. He's gonna take a shot with his hunting bow at the one that has not been wounded yet. That is an 11 to hit, which does hit. What is his damage? The bow, it is 3. That is 2 degrees, 6. He will take some damage, but not a wound or an injury. Okay, so you see Ser Byren, seeing that the enemies close by have been dealt with, the one that is fleeing has gone out of his reach, so he sheathes his greatsword and pulls out the hunting bow that he's used the past couple of days, and takes a shot at the archer in the middle, and you see it pierce some of the chain links, but the man is still standing, looks relatively unhurt by that arrow. That is going to be Ser Byren's turn. Brings us to Martan.
Nice.
All right. Drew, is this a rocky area just south of these archers? Is that like difficult terrain?
I am not treating it as difficult terrain, no.
Okay. In that case, I am going to I'm going to move. Jesus Christ.
Where?
You'll get there.
Alright, we're going to move here, and then I am going to dodge again and move. Oh Christ, what is going on with my mouse pad?
I don't know.
There's a lot. There's a lot
Oh
happening.
my god. Oh my god. And move the other half movement here. And
Alright.
then let me roll that agility real quick. Better. Take it. Now my combat defense is a 6.
All right. Cool. So that is it for your turn, correct?
That is it.
Okay, the Tide archers are going to take their turn. The one engaged with Iron Hand is only able to use his dagger. So he's gonna do that. He is wounded, so he's gonna have a penalty dice. That is gonna be a 6 to hit. I assume that misses.
Oh yeah.
So as you have him grabbed, and you have, already done some damage with your stiletto, he is just trying to slash at you with his dagger, the only weapon that he has available, and he's just flailing about wildly and is not able to even make contact with you. The next archer is unwounded, so he is going to take his shot at Martan with his hunting bow. That is a 16 to hit with 1/6. That is gonna crit. That is gonna deal base damage of 2 plus 2, and multiplied by degrees of success, which is 3. So that is going to mean that you have, 12 damage coming towards you? Reduced by 5. So that means 7 damage. Okay, so you have two options here. You can take a wound, which will take all of that damage and give you a penalty dice on everything. Or you can take an injury, which will, for you, accept 2 of that damage, and you can take the rest as health damage.
I'll take an injury.
The injury will only give you a -1 to all tests.
To all tests.
Okay, so you take an injury. Go ahead and mark that on your character sheet. I don't have a handy little thing to mark injuries for characters on here, so there's no visual representation for it. Okay, and then you take, I think, 5 damage makes it all the way through. Is that correct?
If I take an injury...
Injury reduces it by 2. So 7 down to 5.
Yes. So I have 1 health remaining.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus.
All right. All right. And do you want me to change that? Or is your mouse pad giving you fits? Because I can change it pretty quickly here.
I have 1 injury.
And let's see. In the meantime, the third archer is going to take a shot at Iron Hand. He is wounded, so he's going to take a penalty. That is awful.
Good.
That is another 6. That is not going to hit. This shot goes wide. He is trying to avoid hitting his friend here.
Well, that was
And and the shot goes wide, sailing over your head, Iron Hand. That is it for the archers. So that brings us to Nicholas, who cannot see any immediate way to help. So instead, what he is going to do is he's going to get close to Lord Camren and assist him on his next endurance test.
That'll work.
Gain some of those hit points. That is Nicholas's turn. Sabas is going to start hightailing it towards the archers. 1, 2, 3, 10. And so is Brandeth. There goes Brandeth, and
we are the Flash.
that brings us back to Thali.
Hey, it's me. It's like an event every time I come around.
All right.
I'm gonna kill this dude. Here's what's gonna happen. I'm
All
done
right.
with this. I'm gonna kill this guy. I'm gonna triple shot. 1 to
Triple
this
shot?
guy, and
All right.
2 to this guy.
Okay, go ahead and make your rolls.
and I keep the top 5.
Yes, that is correct.
I see 3 6s and 2 5s. So 28, 3 6s.
28 with 3 6s, you said?
Yeah.
All right, that's enough to do an injury, but it doesn't matter because this guy only has 2 endurance. So your shot catches him in the stomach, and he kind of folds over in half, and after a second, you see him start to cough up blood. You know that this is a deadly wound. It's just going to take a while.
Oof, that's brutal.
Damn.
All right, here's my plan, Mr. Narrator. With these 2 shots, I want to fully incapacitate this human individual while leaving him alive for Martin to interrogate him as he pleases.
Okay.
So would you allow that with 2 good enough shots?
I will allow that, yes.
All right. Here's shot number 1. This is okay.
You got it. No problem.
24 with 1 6.
24 with 1 6, that is going to crit. That'll definitely deal a wound.
Okay. And then
The sound of all those dice.
I know, isn't it delightful?
Absolutely absurd.
Incredible.
We got 3 6s, a 5, and a 4.
All right.
27, right?
Normally, well, no, that would still be another injury.
Sorry, 3 6s and 2 5s.
3 6s. All right, yeah. All right. Well, that's
So
only enough to
28
do
with 3
another
6s.
injury. Yeah. All right. You are able to. How do you incapacitate this man?
I'm essentially just gonna try and put an arrow through like each of his hands.
Okay.
Like Jesus of Nazareth style. I'm trying to put his hand. You know what I'm saying? Like. Pop,
Okay.
pop.
Yeah. You fire your first arrow at this target, and as he is readying his bow to take a shot at Sabas, who has quickly approached, you fire, and your first arrow catches him in the hand holding the bow. He drops the bow, and as he is kind of reeling in pain, he's grabbing at his arm, at his hand, and you put an arrow through his other hand, and he falls to the ground, screaming in pain, no longer a threat.
Cool. My lord, they are as you please.
Yeah, I think at this point you have one person struggling in front of you. And let's see. Lord Camren would have a turn. I guess I can let him heal up a little bit. Maybe. Let's see, he gets a bonus dice. Yeah, that's 2 hit points worth. Better than the first time. Okay. That brings us to... Oh, nope. Iron Hand would go next. Okay, Iron Hand, you have this person in front of you. They seem to be the last person putting up any sort of struggle.
I would like to roll to pin.
Okay. Read out what pin does for everyone.
So pin is a greater action. If, at the start of your turn, you are grabbing your opponent, which I am, you may make an opposed athletics test to pin him to the ground. You may maintain the pin with a greater action each round. A pinned opponent can take no action but attempting to break free with a fighting test.
Okay, that was an opposed athletics, right? Okay, he has been wounded, so he has a penalty.
He sure does. Oh, that would be great.
Oh.
He rolled a 6.
Oh,
I rolled a 12.
yeah, that'll do.
Okay, 12 beats the 6, so you are able to pin him. He is now helpless, and there is nobody else putting up a fight. There is a person crippled and bleeding a few yards away, and the one person is still kind of running through the woods. But this person is now helpless in front of you and is going to stop struggling.
Yeah, Radova takes him by the shirt collar effectively, pulls him forward, and takes the back of his stiletto and brings it around the back of the guy's head and just shoves him into the ground, puts a knee through his in the small of his back, and just kind of sits on top of him with his arm twisted up and the back end of the dagger on the back of his head. Sorry, I'd have killed you like the rest of your friends, but my lord wanted to talk to you, and so you get to enjoy a nice breakfast of dirt.
Yeah, you have effectively removed a way for him to speak by thrusting his face into the dirt, so he is just going to struggle and sputter up some dirt. Okay, combat, I would say, is over at this point, so we can go out of turn order. You guys there in the immediate vicinity, Martan and Ironhand. Ironhand has just put this man down and is holding him face down in the dirt in front of you, Martan.
And this guy is not dead, by the way.
Not dead, yes. He is just incapacitated.
Sure. Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, I can, well, I'll leave the battle map up just so that we have a reference, but we can,
Seems reasonable.
yeah. Okay, so Martan, what would you like to do?
Alright, well, I will turn to Lord Tyde, or holler at Lord Tyde.
Holler at your boy.
Lord Tyde, these men, well, it is safe to assume are no longer in your employ. They were your men, so their fate is yours to decide. However, I would like to take them back to your keep and ask them a few questions, if you would allow me.
Go ahead and make a persuasion test. And if you have, I don't think any of your bonus dice would really help in this area. So yeah, just go ahead and make a general persuasion test for me.
Uh, 12 with a 6, a singular 6.
Okay. That is exactly enough. You see that Lord Camren is still kind of in the heat of the moment and kind of has a bit of a fury on him. You see that he's frustrated that he didn't get to actually draw any blood himself, though he tried ineffectually. When you say that you want to take them back to his hall to ask them some more questions, Lord Camren looks at you, and at first you think he doesn't understand, but then realization dawns on him, and he says, "Why, yes, Martan, I think that's the best idea you've had the whole time you have been on my island. Yes, let's take these men back to my hall."
God.
Oh boy. No wonder you and Lord Skrel are such good friends.
And Brandith and...
Thank you, Lord Tyde. Thank you, Lord Tyde. I feel that there is much information to be gleaned from these men.
I dare say that there is. Brandeth, Sabas, see to it. And Ser Darren, if I might have a word with you in a moment, I might have a small bit of business for you to take care of.
Shit. Ronova sheathes his stiletto, grabs the guy that he's pinning on the ground by his hair, and just hauls him up in one smooth motion to his feet. Yep, come on then.
And you see Brandeth and Sabas go over to the man who Thali has probably irreparably damaged. And they drag him back over to Nicholas, who takes a few moments to remove the arrows and bind up the wounds. Not neatly, but effectively. And they take him over to the horses and tie him up to a tree next to the horses. And after they have done that, they're going to make their way back over. Ironhand, did you have anything specific you wanted to do with your captive?
Just gonna make sure that he understands that he's got one arm twisted behind his back and Radova's hand firmly clamped to his skull, and so he should really consider his options before trying any funny business on the walk back to the castle.
Yeah.
Hall, whatever. Wherever we're going.
Wherever.
Like with the other archer, Brandeth and Sabas come over and help you with your captive. Nicholas checks his wounds and deems him fit enough to travel, although it will not be a pleasant experience for him. And he is taken over with the other archer and bound and tied to a tree. And Brandeth and Sabas make their way back over to the rest of the group, who is kind of gathered back around the boar and around Ser Byron's body. And there, Lord Camren looks down at his dead castellan and looks around at the group of you, and says, I owe you all a tremendous debt today for what you have done. This man here was no true knight, but it seems like I have men around me that could be. Ser Darren, I know that any knight can make a knight. These two that have served me better than Ser Byren ever has.
Thali does that in real life. Thali's just like...
Would you perhaps be so kind as to knight Brandeth and Sabas for me? I welcome their service in our time of need when the odds were greatly stacked against us. They have done more for me than this man ever has. Please, would you do them the honors? We have no god's wood or sept on this island, so they will have to say their vows in the forest here. But perhaps just a simple ceremony. Would you be so kind?
I can think of worse places to be knighted.
And Ser Darren nods and says, yes, I would be more than happy to, my lord. I believe I remember the words. And the two of them, Brandeth and Sabas, who stood and fought beside you, one of them took a wound in this little conflict, kneel down in front of Ser Darren. And Ser Darren begins with Sabas and says, Sabas, do you swear before the eyes of gods and men to defend those who cannot defend themselves, to protect all women and children, to obey your captains, your liege lord, and your king, to fight bravely when needed, and do such other tasks as are laid upon you, however hard or humble or dangerous they may be? And Sabas nods and says, I do so swear. And Ser Byren takes his great sword, still slick with the blood of the Tyde guards, and touches it to one shoulder and then to the other, and repeats the same words with Brandeth. And at the end, he says, you may both rise, Knights of the Otter Wood. And Sir Brandeth now, and Sir Sabas
That's right.
rise to take their new roles and in service to Lord Camren.
It's got a nice ring to it.
Sabas says, I do like it. And Brandeth is, you can see, still recovering from his wound, but you can see the, through the grimace of pain, you see the look of astonished pleasure on his face. Well, that leaves just the bodies to deal with. These betrayers don't deserve a burial in my eyes. I say we leave them to the crows.
That decision is for you to make, Lord Tyde. However, it would be a shame to let, and I look down at Lord Byron specifically, to let good armor go to waste.
Yes, I suppose so. Even a traitor's mail is worth something. Yes, by all means. Take what you please from the bodies. So
Most gracious.
whoever wants to look, go ahead and make an awareness notice test to search. I mean, Ser Byron's right there, but you can search all of the bodies if you wish.
Hi, it's me. I would like to loot the corpses.
I think we'll let the Iron Hand do that.
Okay.
It's dirty business, but somebody's got to see to it. And as we learned on our many trips at sea, Athali never leaves something to waste away in the woods when it could be better served in another man's hands.
Kind of nods his head. He's kind of picking through, poking with like an arrow.
It's only an 11.
Only an 11.
3 2 twos.
Okay. As you're searching the bodies of the guardsmen and the archers, every one of them was wearing some sort of just a chainmail shirt with the blue and red tabard over that, the blue chevron of the Tides. And they have their weapons, their armor on them, a little bit of food for the journey. Ser Byren is similarly equipped, but not exactly the same. Let me pull back up his character sheet real quick. Let's see. Ser Byren is wearing ring mail instead of just a regular mail shirt, so it's a little bit nicer. He has a battle axe and a spear. The rest of the soldiers are equipped with long swords and halberds and shields. The archers are all using hunting bows, arrows. You find just a smattering of all of those things. On Ser Byron's body, you, in addition to the arms and armor, you find a relatively large purse. And when you open it to peer inside, you see gold. A good bit of gold.
Radova doesn't bother to count it. He seals the bag up, ties it very tightly, and holds it up, whistles at Lord Tyde. You might be wanting this. This, I believe, is what your man was paid for betraying you. Now, I can't give you a better man, but I can at least give you what he was worth.
Lord Camren looks at the body of Ser Byren with the great helm is still on, so you can't see his face, but you do see that blood has seeped out through some of the holes in the helmet. And he looks at the purse and looks around at the people around him and at the otter wood, looks back at you, and spits on Ser Byron's helmet and says, "I won't take his blood money. Divide it amongst yourselves however you see fit. That's the least I can do."
You're very kind, and I'm very sorry it came to this. Pockets the money and looks over at Martin in a very, like, we can handle this later if you want to sort of way.
Well, now that this business is behind us, I think it would be good for us to get back to the hall as quickly as possible. News of this will spread, likely that one that escaped will set things in motion, so we will want to get back as quickly as possible and recover from our injuries. That will take a little bit of time, but we should do that in the safety of the hall. We can also send some ravens from there once we get back. Make sure that the captives are securely tied. And let's make camp here tonight. We'll set off in the morning. And I think that is where we will call it for the night. I will go ahead.
Wait.
Oh.
Before we do that, I want to make a notice. I want to look and see if I see any swallows in the sky.
Okay, go ahead. And are you using your far eyes, or are you just taking a look around?
I'm just in the moment taking a look in the air and just looking.
Okay, go ahead and make your awareness notice test. 4?
Yes.
Good.
You look around.
That's real good.
You see birds in the area, but in the heat of the moment, and at the distance that they're at, it's hard to tell if those are swallows or not. But you see birds, and you feel a little bit comforted by their presence.
We'll take it.
That was it.
All right, cool. Well, with that search for birds, we will call that for the actual session. I will now go ahead and hand out your rewards for getting through this. There are several, so give me a moment to pull them up.
I like several rewards. Rewards.
So, Lord Camren's disposition towards all of you is going to increase to friendly.
Nice.
Nicholas and Sir Darren's disposition towards the three of you will increase to affectionate.
Nice.
House Skrel is going to get 2 glory points.
Ooh.
So you now have a total of 3. House Skrel's influence is going to go up by 5.
Ooh. That's nice.
House Tyde's law, which you don't have access to their sheet, but their law is going to go up by 5. You each get 30 experience points.
Ooh.
And in that purse, you find 500 gold dragons.
Holy Moses.
Jesus.
Yep.
At the moment, all of that is strapped to Radova's thigh.
Cool.
But
All right.
I figure once we get back to the hall, we can distribute that and make something of ourselves.
Yeah. Indeed. All right. Well, that is where we are going to call it for the evening. For anyone that has watched us live, thank you. I plan on doing these every time we do these sessions. So every 2 weeks, I think, is what we're shooting for.
Every other Monday.
Yeah, every other Monday is what we're shooting for. So unless something happens, that is when we will meet next. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you guys next time. Bye.